welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. Today we are going to cover a movie that I will admit I was late to the party on. And I'll explain why, but we're going to be covering Trick or Treat.
Yay.
Woo! This movie came out on December 9th, 2007. And I thought that was a weird date. I was like, why would you not release this at Halloween?
Yeah.
Well, it's because Saw 400 or something was going to be released at the same time.
Oh,
And the studio didn't want both of them released.
I understand.
I didn't see this movie until about 2 or 3 years ago was the first time. When did you first see it, though?
I think I maybe only watched it by myself a year before that or something.
Okay.
The director and writer of this movie is Michael Dougherty, and he also worked on Krampus and some Godzilla stuff and
X-Men.
X-Men stuff, yeah.
This movie actually kind of originated from a cartoon that he drew up and short stories put into one, and they all kind of intermingle with each other.
Yeah.
The movie starts out with actually like an old film reel of Halloween trick-or-treating safety. And,
Yeah.
apparently that was used in the preview, and it wasn't originally on the film, and then he added it to it because he liked it so much.
Okay.
So I think that's cool because the old Halloween costumes, creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
They're like paper mache, weird looking shit.
Oh, yeah.
They're just creepy. So yeah, we start off with that. And there's a couple that is walking down the street. They're done partying for the night.
Yep.
The girlfriend's dressed up like a robot, which I thought was a pretty cool costume, by the way. That kind of starts it off. She blows out the candle in the pumpkin, and it's like, well, that's tradition to keep that on. And that's when you start to see Sam
Yep.
watching over things.
He's just kind of the spirit of Halloween there to enforce the rules, basically, I would say. And he sees her starting to, blow out the jack-o'-lantern and start taking down all these decorations, so he decides to kill her.
Yes. But it was a really creative way
Yeah.
that they killed her. I mean, because there was all these sheets hanging up as ghosts, and one just flies over her, and it looks like the sheet's attacking her.
Yeah.
But then you see all the blood, and you're
Yep.
like, oh, okay, something bad happened.
Something bad's going
Oh,
on.
gosh. We continue throughout the night with these different stories. There is 4 girls. 2 of them are sisters. They are probably early 20s.
Yeah, one would
something
assume,
like that. Yeah. Anna Paquin, she is reluctant to follow along with the Halloween fun as well. She's
Yep.
just kind of grumpy about it. And it's mostly because those particular girls, they represent the slutty Halloween costume girls.
Right.
Which is another unfortunate thing that has happened for Halloween, to where
Yeah.
it's like, used to just be like a cat.
Yeah.
Be a cat, you know,
Right.
and you're like, oh, ring,
Yeah.
I'm so sexy, you
Right.
know. Now it's just princesses, and oh, it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
horrible. So she's reluctant to be dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, even though she looks really cute in it. And her sister's Cinderella, and I don't know, whatever. And they're
Yeah.
just trying to get her hooked up with a dude.
Right.
And then you have the high school principal,
Yep.
and he's kind of a grumpy man too, but he is one that really has his heart into Halloween
Yes.
and some other stuff too. And he poisons this fat kid
Yeah.
that was, oh gosh, it's such a dumb detail, but he was dragging that pillowcase
Oh,
down
yeah.
the street, and it's so
It's all dirty
gross.
and stuff,
Oh
yeah.
God, and I'm just thinking the candy inside of it's
Yeah.
gross and nasty. But anyway, so that kid goes up to the principal's porch to get
Yeah.
candy, and it was just left out as an honor system thing. And of course, that kid just is a dick.
Right.
And he just goes and grabs the whole thing, and that's when the principal catches him.
Right.
But he's trying to be cool about it, you know, whatever, and lets him have his candy. And then you have the best puke scene I have watched in a long time.
That is a good one.
After Stand By Me, because the pie eating contest, that's
Well, yeah,
always
that's
going to be the top
puke scene to end
yeah.
all puke scenes
Yeah.
for sure.
But this chocolate puke
Yeah.
scene it's a lot.
Yeah.
The principal kills him.
Yeah, he's a serial killer, evidently.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's dragging the body into the house, and then also dealing with trick-or-treaters at the same time, and he's
Yep.
got all this blood that the kid puked
Yeah.
up on him,
Yep.
which is fabulous. And he drags the body out to the backyard where he has a pre-dug hole.
Yeah, well, there's already somebody else in that hole, too.
Yes, exactly. And so he was prepared.
Oh, yeah.
He was ready for this one. And his son pops up out of nowhere, and he's just a little boy.
Yeah.
Annoying
Yeah.
little boy. But he's like, come on, Dad, let's do the jack-o'-lantern, me.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, could you shut up? You're being so loud. And it tips off the asshole neighbor next
Yep.
door, who's played by Brian Cox.
Yes.
And so that situation's happening. And we find out that the son is also
Yeah.
a serial killer son.
Yeah. A serial killer in training.
Yeah, exactly. You think that he's bitching and complaining to carve a jack-o'-lantern, but what he wants to carve is the head of
Yeah.
the kid
That was poisoned.
yeah, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
And so gross at the same time. It's amazing because it's such a twist you didn't anticipate.
Right.
You thought the father was going to kill his own son, but
Yep.
nope, just kidding.
Yep.
Yeah. So then the old man, like I said,
Yep.
he's just an asshole.
Yes.
Brian Cox does an amazing job with this
Yeah.
because he's already a grumpy guy in most roles.
Yeah, exactly.
But in his interviews that we watched, his costuming and his prosthetics and everything, it was to make him look, he wanted to look like John Carpenter
Yeah.
and Jerry Garcia.
Yeah. And he does.
He does. Because when I first watched this movie, I didn't recognize that was Brian Cox at all. And you should because his accent.
Right.
But,
Yeah. His voice is very distinct, but the prosthetic nose and everything makes it like, is it or isn't it? You know?
yeah, it's really hard to tell. And he just does such a good job.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fun that he chose to be in this role. I mean, obviously, he's a fun guy. He did Super Troopers.
Yeah.
So,
And he was in Autopsy of Jane Doe also. So,
oh, that's right. He has a sense of humor.
Yeah. He'll pretty much be in any kind of movie, I think, if
Yeah.
he likes what he's doing.
Yeah. Sam is watching over all of these different groups that
Yeah.
I'm discussing and basically seeing what they choose to do, what their actions are,
Right.
and what their Halloween spirit is. So we're going to move on to the kids.
Right.
And I think this part of the story was probably one of the harder parts to watch because of where the origin of it and everything. It's a story about a school bus full of children who were going to, they were bused outside of city limits to go to a school for kids who are mentally challenged.
Yeah.
And there was, unfortunately, a time and day where this is actually what parents did.
Right.
Is they put them in the asylums and ignored them, and then that was it. Well, the parents had finally had enough.
Yeah.
And they paid the bus driver to drive off a quarry cliff and kill all the children.
Yeah.
In that story, they're like, oh, well, don't know what happened to the bus driver, and just kind of leave it at that. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So fast forward to present day, and there's a group of kids going around trick-or-treating, kind of dicks.
Yeah.
Especially
Total
the little
dicks, yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
She's an asshole. And when they go trick-or-treating, they're asking for the jack-o'-lanterns, and they're saying it's for UNICEF.
Yeah, for a scavenger hunt.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but when I was in Christian school, we weren't allowed to dress up for Halloween. We had to dress up for Pilgrim's Day. And they went around, if we wanted to do this, which my mom never wanted me to do this because I think she thought it was lame too, but they had these little plastic bread loaves, you know, like fishes and loaves, loaf. And you were supposed to bring that door to door to get money.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of shitty. I always just wanted to play with the plastic loaf, to be honest with you. I was just like, oh, it's a fun little bread loaf, you know. I didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to do that, thankfully. But that's what it reminded me of with these kids. We know later on that they had no intention of doing anything good with those pumpkins.
Right.
They stop at one last house because they see all these pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns at her house, and it's a girl named Rhonda. And immediately the kids are like, oh, isn't she? I don't know if they used the big R word. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But they were implying that.
Yeah.
More than likely, it was more of like an autism thing.
Yeah.
But she was a sweet girl and very talented. And I mean, these pumpkins were beautiful. And so they invite her to come along. And they go to the quarry. And the mean girl,
Right.
she's like, oh, well, let me tell you the story and blah, blah, blah. And then they take the creepiest, shittiest elevator on earth. It was not intended for people to still use. And how they even found the key, I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Because that quarry was well shut down
It
at that
had to have
point.
been abandoned.
Yeah,
at
it
that
was.
point.
I would have never, ever in my life gone in that damn elevator.
No.
But 3 of the kids go down in the elevator, and that bitchy girl's like, oh, we only have room for 3.
Yeah.
So the other 2 have to wait, and that is Rhonda, and I can't remember the other
Can't
kid's
remember the
name.
little boy, but he's dressed like a pirate.
Yeah, and he's also pretty innocent and pretty afraid of the situation. So Rhonda's trying to comfort him,
Yeah.
and they end up finally getting into the elevator, but he's afraid to get out because there's sounds, you know, they
Yeah.
hear werewolves and
Yeah.
all this crap happening. So she said, well, here, just keep the candles lit inside of the thing and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It was the sweetest thing ever. Well, then the other 3 kids are dicks
Yes.
and play a trick and make Rhonda think that, well, and the little boy, because I think he comes out of the elevator eventually.
Well, no, they had him. He was actually in on it eventually because they had him
Oh.
with blood on him and stuff
That's
like
right.
that, and the fake intestines.
Such a little dick.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to scare her, and make her think that it's the children that were in the school bus, which the school bus is still in the quarry.
Right.
With its ass end sticking out. And I thought that was kind of crazy that nobody thought they should pull that out of the
Yeah.
water at any point. But anyway, and Rhonda ultimately gets her own revenge because those kids really were there.
Yeah.
And they do attack all the other mean kids, and Rhonda gets away and doesn't allow them to get into the elevator. And,
Yep.
and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's a little Carrie moment.
Yep,
In my
exactly.
opinion.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
It was a play on that, like, fuck you, you know.
Yeah.
Because Rhonda didn't deserve that. She was the sweetest thing. And she just had a good heart.
Yep.
That's the best part of this movie, in my opinion, is
Yeah.
that. I like Sam and everything, but that story,
Yeah.
the revenge
Yeah.
to mean kids that's a good one.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
I would have liked to have done that a couple times with some kids I knew. But anyway, so we're just kind of going back and forth between those stories. Anna is back with her friends. She just tries to find them. She's
Yeah.
just done with this shit. She tries to find them. Her sister's like, "Oh, I got somebody here for you."
Yeah.
And you didn't want that.
Yeah, no.
So as she's walking down this path, then she gets attacked by a vampire
Yeah.
who ultimately ends up being the principal.
Yep.
Which I think was funny because there's full circle once
Yep,
again.
exactly.
And another scene that totally shocked me, and I think this is the good part about this movie, is that there was no weak spots
Yeah.
in this movie. Every little story had an amazing
good,
scene
yeah.
and totally shocking. It was not weak sauce at any point.
Right.
So, orgy,
Yep.
werewolf orgy.
Werewolf orgy. Yeah.
And it could have just stopped it because at first you're like, oh, they just have fangs.
Yeah.
And so they're vampires. Okay, so they're all attacking these dudes that they brought.
Yeah.
But nope, couldn't stop there.
Yeah.
Ripped off their flesh.
Which I thought was so cool because it was such a
was.
different transformation
Yes.
idea than some of the others, that we've seen through the years.
Exactly. I thought that, I was like, yeah, because normally it's just the hair grows out and the nails,
Yeah.
but it's such a slow process.
Yep. This
Ripping
thing
off
was-
that shit, I'm done with it. So, and a great song from
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson, Sweet Dreams, was there. Originally it was going to be the song Fever,
Oh,
but they thought they should have something edgier.
yeah.
So I was happy that it
Yeah,
was
it's
there
a
because
good-
it really worked well
good
with
pick,
the movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's really the only playful, fun, popular song in the whole thing. The rest of it's just score.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that, of course, because, yay, Marilyn Manson.
That's right.
So it all kind of ties back to the old man
Yep.
who was the bus driver.
Yes.
And I had kind of forgotten that until last night, and I was like, oh, shit, that's right. And so I was excited that I forgot, because I was like, oh, it's something new
Yeah,
again to my little brain. So, but he has a big brawl with...
Yes, he has quite the brawl with Sam.
Yeah, and Sam it's actually a child playing him, because they wanted him to have movement like a child, and so he does. So he has like on a onesie,
Yeah.
which is really cute, because he has like remember those damn pajamas we used to have, and they'd have the plastic on the bottom of our feet,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
your feet would sweat in it?
Yeah.
Ugh, so gross. So that's what it is. And then he's got basically a burlap sack over his big bulbous head.
Yeah.
And he's just filled with pumpkin guts.
Yep.
Which I thought was even better.
Yeah.
I was like, because he was just a sack of guts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, man, that's fabulous, because nobody likes pumpkin guts.
Right, right.
So it's gross, but it wasn't gory because it's a child still.
Yeah, yeah,
So you got to be careful on that one.
for sure.
But his actual face is finally revealed.
Yeah.
Holy shit. It is the creepiest thing.
Yeah.
They said it's a cross between a jack-o'-lantern and a fetus.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually absolutely what it looks
Yes, they did an amazing job. And the director only had one drawing of this that he had done a long time ago, because it wasn't part of the original story that he did and all that. So, but he presented that to the art director, and they figured it out. And
like. Right.
damn it,
Yeah.
it's a good one. It's so good. I mean, the old man he's fucked.
Yeah.
He's got shit all over him. He had
Yeah.
cut his hands up all over this candy that had razor blades in it. And,
Broken arm,
yeah, and a broken arm.
sliced ankle.
And, oh God, that
Yeah.
it grosses me out. I can't handle that part. And poor Spike.
Yeah, Spike didn't make it. But they
No.
don't show it,
They don't-
thankfully.
yes.
You
'Cause
just hear it. They don't show
I
it.
would have been pissed.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a really bad yelp.
Yeah.
It's just enough
Yeah,
to
just
let you
them be
know.
like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
But, there's so many horror movies where dogs get killed, it seems
know.
like. Unfortunately, most of them don't show it, but I wish they would. They know it tugs at people,
Yes.
so that's why they put it in there, but
I don't like
I
it.
wish they wouldn't.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Yeah.
So Sam leaves, and the old man's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
And kids come to the door, and they're trick-or-treating, and he has all of these jack-o'-lanterns all over his
Yeah.
yard, which is, the kids now think that he's safe to go to or whatever, and he gives them candy. He's very generous. I thought it was funny. He gives them old people peppermints, though.
Yeah.
Like the ones my grandma used to
Yeah.
carry around. Yeah. I was like,
Yep.
where's the butterscotch, though? I need
We need some Werther's
some
original
Werther's,
in there.
yes. And some old Kleenex.
That's
So I thought that was a nice little toss to them. And the kids were so grateful, though.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then he shuts the door. The doorbell rings again.
Yeah.
He opens it. And it's the ghost children.
From the bus.
Yeah,
and
from
that's
the
when
bus.
you really find out that he was the bus driver because they show the photo in the fireplace that he was trying to burn earlier.
Yeah, it was, and he was just burning photos just because. It wasn't necessarily because of that story, because he didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly.
It was just for kindling, which is just shows you how heartless he
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
But yeah, ultimately another great revenge spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think every single one of those. I mean, with the girls, the slutty girls, they got their revenge as being werewolves because here Anna got attacked
Yeah.
by the principal.
Yep.
And everybody thought, oh shit, she's attacked and murdered by this vampire.
Yep. Nope.
She gets the last word.
Yep.
And the last howl.
Yes.
So as a whole with this movie, it's great.
Yeah, I love this movie. I like the way it kind of jumps from story to story and jumps around in time. It's almost like the Pulp Fiction of horror movies
Yes,
in a way.
yeah.
So I really appreciate that. I just think it's kind of cool that, even though these stories were so obviously not meant to be woven together, he managed to do that. And the way he did it, I just think is really masterful. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is like a modern classic for me.
Absolutely, and that's why I wish we had seen
Yeah,
it
I wish
sooner.
I wish I had known what it was sooner, so we could have been watching it all this time. But
And
better late than never.
I think that, well, this came out before we even knew each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised you and your mom didn't go to the theater to
I'm
see
surprised I'm surprised my mom didn't want to see it because she'll watch pretty much any horror. At least she'll give about any horror movie a chance.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised that we never did see this one.
it. And she likes this
Yeah,
movie. So I think it was a missed opportunity for all of us,
Yes.
really. Halloween started off thousands of years ago within the Celtic and pagan traditions. And it was a holiday for the harvest and a sacrifice for the harvest. And if you've ever watched Wicker Man,
Yeah.
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Even the imagery they showed last night,
Yeah.
I was like, that's Wicker Man,
Yeah.
and it's old photo.
Yeah.
Or not photo, drawing.
And you think about it, Halloween 3 is the updated for the 80s version of
It
that.
is. Weird tie-in, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. It's because we're cool like that. It's to celebrate the end of the season, the harvest of what was supposed to come through summer, and so on and so forth. And so the candy portion of this is supposed to represent the food that was offered to the whatever.
Spirits.
Yeah, the spirits. Some folks were like, yeah, you got some good corn. So corn rigs and barley.
Mighty fine ears you got there.
Yeah. So the jack-o'-lantern comes from, he was an old blacksmith. He was kind of an asshole. And, what? It's true. He was an asshole.
This is the legend of the asshole blacksmith.
He didn't want to make horseshoes anymore. He was done with it. Anyway. So the devil is just like, we don't like you. You're not going to heaven or hell, whatever. And basically they said once he died, he just had to roam the earth. Well, in order to light his way, they gave him a lump of coal, which I think is funny because that kind of crosses over into
Christmas
Christmas,
stuff,
yeah. But he carved out a turnip, which I think is an odd one.
That is odd.
We did see some big
I was
ass
gonna
turnips
say that.
yesterday.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would have said before. How the heck do you carve up a turnip? But then we were at the Saturday market yesterday and saw these enormous turnips. They're
Yes,
like
they were
turnips on
huge.
steroids. So
They
I guess maybe if you had turnips that big, you could carve one out. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So he carved it out, put the coal in there, and that's okay.
So
Dude's-
Jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, his name is Jack. It's a lantern. Bada bing. In 1930s, these kids started being assholes as well. They're like, we want to be like Jack, and be a dick to
Yeah.
everybody. And they were like breaking windows and shit. I'm like, it wasn't easy to just order a new window pane back then,
Right.
So it was kind of a shit move. So they decided to come up with a thing where the kids would go to each other's houses and have Halloween parties and basically get those kids off the street.
Yep.
You know?
Hooligans.
Yeah.
All hopped up on goofballs, probably.
Or Skittles. One of the two. They probably were just given apples, for God's sake.
Probably.
It's probably where apple bobbing came from.
A couple turnips.
Yeah. That would be a shitty deal.
Some Brussels sprouts.
You want some liver and onions,
Here we go,
kids?
kids. Fresh from the garden.
Yeah, gross. Okay. Anyway, so that's where that started up. And then costumes and all that stuff didn't start until like 1950s. It started in 1940s, but got popular in the 1950s, I should say.
Okay.
And costumes, they originated as far as trying to blend in with the bad spirits and the
Yeah,
evil
so they
spirits.
wouldn't know. They would think you were just one of them.
Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure evil spirits are a little smarter than that. They're going to be like, Superman here. But yeah, I mean, obviously at one point people just dressed up as witches and ghosts and
Yeah, exactly.
Spooky shit.
stuff, as it should be, I might add.
yes, yes, it's not supposed to be dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was to fool the demons, blah 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 blah, and it also kind of tied into Carnival
Yeah,
and all of that. It kind of,
Okay.
if you've ever seen costuming for that kind of stuff, it's
Makes
pretty
sense.
crazy looking.
Yeah.
One of the last things that they talked about was the Halloween parades. Now, I will say I have never been to a Halloween parade. I've never seen a Halloween parade.
No.
I don't know where the fuck Halloween parades are, but
Disneyland.
Sure, yeah, exactly. That's where we've seen it, was when we've gone to Disneyland. But that's where all the traditions are in this. I mean, as a kid, obviously carving pumpkins was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And the costumes and the trick-or-treating, and that was the extent of it. There were kids that would do some pretty nasty tricks.
Yeah.
We had a friend that got hit in the face with an egg
Oh God.
and broke her nose.
Wow.
Yeah, dick move. But that was probably the extent of it. I never really saw anything else like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to put out that effort, really.
Yeah. I was gonna say we never had anything like that in Beaverdale.
Yeah. Beaverton, Beaverville, Lower Beaver still. I'm going Lower Beaver.
Don't forget the great small businesses there, such as Beaver Cleaners and Beaver Mower.
See? You see why I made up these names? It's funny. It's funny shit. It's a beautiful part of town. Funny name.
That's right.
Anything with beavers in it is funny.
Right.
I mean, we've got the beavers here in Oregon. Can't pass up the beaver store.
Beaver Nation, baby.
Yep. Oh, gosh. Anyway, but I think that's, all in all, I think that's pretty much it. You guys took it pretty seriously. Your mom
Oh, yeah.
goes all out.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
This last week we were in Iowa. It was a top secret mission.
Yep.
But anyway, we were in Iowa and she had already decorated the whole house for Halloween.
Yes.
And it was magical as always.
Yes.
Because she just does such a good job with it. Do you guys still celebrate Halloween?
I hope so.
Oh my God. If you don't, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Now, Josh thinks I'm boring though, and that I don't like to give out candy.
Oh.
There's a reason though. It's because then it's in my house. And
If
then
there's any left over, yeah.
Yeah, and I will eat that candy. Well, we eat it beforehand. Come on,
Well,
let's
that's
just be
okay.
honest.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So I buy fun stuff though. I buy
true. Oh yeah, you do buy fun things. don't get me wrong.
pencils
I
and
just,
erasers
I just
and
think
little
little
toys.
candy's always good.
No.
Sugar those kids up so they can terrorize their parents.
I have a heart. There's a tiny piece of me that has a heart and thinks about kids who might not be able to eat candy. That's the other big part of it too.
see.
I could give them floss
You could.
or toothbrushes.
You could do that.
I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your traditions? Do you guys still celebrate it? Do you do stuff for it? Do you still carve pumpkins?
Yeah.
Because damn it, we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so that's trick or treat.
Yeah.
Yay! Wee!
Modern classic.
It is. It is. And I don't know that I recommend it for kids
Yeah.
necessarily. I think probably
Like maybe when you get to the
preteens.
preteen era.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your kids are rotten in your neighborhood like ours are, they won't get anything this year.
Yep.
They don't understand the traditions.
Nope.
They're just little punk asses.
That's right.
So the director, he has stated that this is his favorite holiday, and he felt the same way that I feel about a lot of the Halloween stuff these days, to where people don't understand where it came from and why it's important, and it's just become a consumer
Yeah. Oh,
situation,
yeah,
and that's
for
it,
sure.
just to make money, and that's all.
Yeah.
Which is sad to me. Recently when we went to a Spirit Halloween store when we were visiting family, this is what I'm talking about, all the merchandising, there's stuff for Sam,
Yeah.
the evil little kid in this, and it's just, that's actually where this shirt came
Yeah.
from. Like last year or the year
Yeah.
before or something like that. But it just kind of gets beaten into you.
Right.
And there's no creativity with these stores anymore.
Right.
Just here's a packaged costume, go deal with it, as opposed to being creative and making it yourself.
Right.
So it just kind of, I don't know, kind of became lackluster
Well, yeah.
the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, it's a lot different now from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, when I wanted to be a zombie, my mom took a shirt, she chopped it up with scissors and stuff. She rubbed dirt and grass on it. There was some thought and some heart and some love into
Yeah.
what she was doing for me. Nowadays people are just gonna take their kid to Spirit Halloween and have them pick something out.
Yeah, and that's boring and expensive in
Yeah.
my opinion. My mom made all my costumes. And, you know, so it just, I don't know, it kind of sucks that it's gotten to this point where people don't understand the history of it. We're going to continue on with our spooky themes.
Yeah.
Spooky. Ooh. So, anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.